Hey everybody, it's Mordecai from Queer Universe, and today's video, it conveniently happened last night, the topic that I'm going to be talking about today. So that's fun. So to start it all off, if you've known me by now, like through the videos that I've been uploading to this channel, you know that I write fanfic. I love doing it. I have recently been in a creative slump, and last night I felt like reading some fics rather than writing because, you know, that's one way to get your creativity back, is like view other people's work and appreciate them. And I found this really great fic. I love the ship Hank Con, or Honor, which is Lieutenant Hank Anderson and Connor RK-800 from Detroit Become Human. Love them to death. They're like one of my favorite. They're one of my OTPs, one of my favorite ships. Anyway, I read this really good Hank, Connor, and Reader fic, and like they never gendered the reader. It just said you do this or you react this way, which was really cool. I loved how they used the second person on that. If you don't know, second person is like just directory, like you are going to do this, or instructions, kind of like following a recipe, but in written form. So yeah. Well, anyway, I finished that one, and I wanted more, but there wasn't a second chapter. It was just a standalone. And I continued looking through the list of fics that I searched, and I came across this one, and it was tagged older man, younger woman, because it was Hank slash Reader, and Hank is older than Connor, just like 20 years. But he's an old man. And, well, anyway. But, after that, it had been tagged AFAB Reader, you know, assigned female at birth. And I'm like, you know, I'm AFAB, so this might actually be inclusive. Let's give it a try. I was reading it, and the grammar and stuff wasn't the best, but it wasn't one of the worst that I'd read. I did enjoy it up until, things kind of went south. Not in the way that I just phrased it. It sounds like I'm saying, like, oh, when it got erotic. It did get erotic, that was fine. Yes, I read erotic fanfic slash smut. I've written smut. Come at me. Anyway, it got to that point, which was fine. I was expecting it. It was tagged explicit, so, yeah. And it got to the undressing part, and it said, you know, Hank removes your blouse, and I'm like, that's kind of feminine, but, you know, clothes don't really have a gender, so I'll overlook it, but, you know, it's just a shirt. Okay. And it continues, and it's like, you're just in your panties. I'm like, not doing this, bye. Because that triggers my dysphoria. Yes, clothes are not gendered, but when you hear panties, you're like, oh, that's feminine. At least a lot of people that I know would do that. And I have only worn boxers for the past 4 to 5 years now. And yeah, just, you could have said underwear to make it inclusive. You were doing such a good job before. I just, I feel like they needed a beta reader, and I could have commented on it like, hey, you said AFAB Reader, this isn't AFAB, this is just for feminine people. Might want to actually ask a person who is AFAB how you would write this. If you're not sure, if you want to be inclusive and you're not like AFAB, if you're cis female, writing to be inclusive to trans men and non-binary people, then you should like do your research, of course, and then just reach out, be like, hey, to anybody who is of this identity, how would you write this? How would you want this to be written? How would you want to be spoken to in this situation or scenario? I guess I asked that because, like, that's how I do my writing. I do research, of course, but, like, I try and think more broadly, as in, like, in the situation. How would people actually react? And then go from there. So just, you know, ask people if you're not sure. Don't just assume, of course, and don't say you're going to be inclusive when you're not actually being inclusive. I mean, you tried. You did. I'll give you that. but you didn't really succeed. So, you know, I give you an A for effort, but, you know, you can try again. Like, I'm not mad at them. You know, from what I was reading, it seemed like English wasn't their first language, but, like, they were pretty good at what they were writing. Just aside from, like, the grammatic stuff. Like, some words were left out and stuff. It was fine. So yeah, this is not me, like, being like, oh, you weren't inclusive at all. They were up until that point. And as I said, they tried. They did. They need to try harder. Yeah. And, like, I'm fine with cis people writing about trans people and non-binary people. It's just, when you're gonna write about an experience, especially, like, a sexual one, and you're like, what would they wear? Would they wear panties? Would they wear boxers? What would they wear? Just actually ask somebody who is of that nature. I know I keep rambling about that, but it's just one of the things that I advocate for in writing, because a lot of the whatever pairing it is, or whatever person it is in the fandom, times reader, is almost always feminine coded. And it's really annoying. So I told my friends this in the group chat, and they were like, you know, just write your own. I'm like, yeah, I've considered it. You know, sometimes, like, when I'm in this creative slump, I don't want to, or I don't feel like I can, and I want someone else to do it and see what they've come up with, and, you know, see that I'm not the only one who thinks this way, or, like, in this general kind of thought. But, yeah, I'm probably gonna end up writing my own. I have an idea that I said might be a reader fic. I don't know. I'll see. Never know. But yeah, I just wanted to rant about that a bit. And, yeah, that'll about do it for me. I will see you in the next video. Love you all, stay safe, and have a great day, evening, night, wherever you are.